So when we were doing the means back here, with the frequencies, those were weighted means. The means that had a high frequency, like in our last example, there with the 81, that frequency of 81, it contributed more to the mean than something with a lower frequency. So our weighted mean here, the formal definition is we've got that sum, again, where x is our value and n is the frequency. And so we multiply the value times the frequency, and then on the bottom we take the sum of all the frequencies. Remember, this is just our notation for the sum. So we've got some examples of times that you actually might use this. The other ones, we did it, but they didn't really assign values. So here are your GPAs, and your GPAs are a weighted mean. So if you're taking a course that's only worth 1 credit, so like a lab course, it doesn't affect your GPA as much as a course that's worth 3 or 4 hours. So they are weighted here. For this example, we're going to assume that we don't have pluses or minuses, so we're just going to do a straight A, B, C, D. There's not a D in here. But an A is worth 4 points. A B's 3, a C is 2, a D is 1, and an F you don't get any for. And this is the common across the board standardized GPA system. Again, we're going to assume that we don't have pluses or minuses in our grade. So this is our X value, and our frequency, or how many units or credits we have an A for. So our math class is worth 5, not ours personally, but in this example, the math class is worth 5 credits. So my mean would be 5 times 4, and then history class, that's worth 3. Health class only had a weight of 2. Oops, I put an A there. That's supposed to be a 4. Art class had 2 units, and that was a C. And then I'm going to add up those frequencies. Just go in here because I know we're changing a lot of numbers. Every time we see an A, we're going to put a 4. And every time we see a B, we would write a 3. Every time we would C, we would write a 2. All right. So if I add up the numerator, that gives me a 41. And if I add up the denominator, that's 12. So then I'm going to do 41 divided by 12, and that's going to give me, it's got a 6 repeating on it. So we might say a 3.4 GPA. Let's say we're going to round to a 10th place. Follow whatever rounding rules you see on directions. If you don't see any, just ask. A lot of times our classes are also weighted. You might have some points-based classes, but they're really weighted too. So if you have a points-based class, maybe you have a paper that's worth 200 points, but a quiz that's only worth 20 points. So the paper's worth a lot more than a quiz. Or you can have a percentage-based class, which also you're going to have tests are going to be worth more than, say, homework. And so that's what we've got here is a percentage. Now, I like to change all my percents to decimals. Technically, you don't have to. Just choose. Either do or do not. I'm just going to change mine to the decimals. All right, I'm going to try to line up the grade that goes with the percentage. So let's see. In this particular biology class, the lab is worth 25%, and it shows we made a 92 on a lab. So I'm going to do that 25% times 92. And then each major test is worth 22.5. And I made an 81 on the first one. And then a 93 on the next one. And then, let's see, the final exam is worth 30. And I made it 85 on the final exam. The denominator is going to be the sum of all of these. Most of the time, that's going to be out of 100% when we're thinking about getting a final grade. If you calculate your grades during the middle of the semester, you can't use all the percentage because you don't know what you made on the final. So I always tell people, go ahead, make sure to put the bottoms on there. Don't just assume that it's going to be 1. Right? But it does happen to be that way a lot, especially when we're talking about a final grade. So if you type in the numerator, you get 87.65. The denominator, you get 1. Again, that comes up a lot, but don't assume it. And so this would give me a total of 87.65 as your grade. If you want to put a percent on the end, you can. You don't have to, but that's what your grade would be 87.65.